There is a story being told about you, not by someone else, by you, every single day. It runs on a loop somewhere just below the surface of your thoughts. I'm not enough. I need to do better. If they knew what I'd done. You might not even notice it anymore. It's just background noise. The quiet hum of a lie you've believed so long that you stopped questioning it. But here's what nobody tells you. That story? It's already been rewritten. There is always a tape, always a voice. And for most of us, it started long before we had words for it. Maybe it was something someone said, a parent, a teacher, a moment you can still picture clearly. And somewhere along the way, you started believing it. I am what I've done. I am what has been done to me. I am what I'm worth. Psychologists call this a core belief, a deep, invisible statement you told about yourself. And here's what makes it terrifying. It shapes everything. How you walk into a room, how you handle failure, how you feel when someone looks you in the eye and says, I love you. You brace just slightly because somewhere inside, you're waiting for the conditions. I want to tell you a story that I heard. A little girl, maybe 8, maybe 9 years old, wants to help her dad. His white work shirt has just been washed. It needs to dry. She carries it carefully outside, hangs it over the nearest thing she can find, a rusty old wheelbarrow. When her father comes home, brown rust marks spreading across the white fabric, he is angry, real anger, the kind that stings long after it's over. And that little girl learns something that day, not in her head, in her bones. Love has conditions. Mess up, and there is a cost. She grows up. She comes to faith. She starts following Jesus. She prays every single day. And the God she prays to, he looks exactly like her father. Always watching, always keeping score, always waiting to see if she gets it right. It wasn't something she chose to believe. It was something her childhood taught her. You're probably nodding right now because you know exactly what I mean. Most of us, if we're honest, are praying to a version of God that looks like someone who hurt us, or disappointed us, or left. And we spend our entire spiritual lives trying to get the rust stains off. This is the performance trap. And here's why it's so hard to escape. The performing feels righteous. It feels like discipline, like faithfulness, like you're taking God seriously. But when you look closely, it's actually fear in a Sunday suit. Yeah, but I still need to clean up my act. Yeah, but God can't be happy with me right now. Yeah, but I did that thing again, and I need to work my way back. Paul had a name for this. He called it a spirit of slavery. And he said, directly, clearly, that is not what you were given. You did not receive a spirit of slavery to fall back into fear, Romans 8:15. Something else was given, something most people never fully receive. I want you to picture something. 2 boxes, your box and Jesus' box. Inside your box, take a moment with this, is a slip of paper. On it, you write the most difficult thing you carry, the thing that wakes you up at 3 a.m., the thing you've never said out loud, the thing you'd be devastated if someone saw. That's your box. Inside Jesus' box, acts of love, of goodness, of perfect faithfulness, a record so clean it almost doesn't seem real. And then Jesus goes to the cross. And what happens next is almost too strange to accept. He takes your box. He exchanges it for his. And he puts your name on his. Your worst moment, gone. His record, yours. His standing before God, now yours. His file was wiped. A new one was opened. But here's what most people miss. That exchange didn't just clean your record. It changes your identity. You have a new name now. Years later, that woman with the rusty shirt tells her story to a counselor. And at the end, the counselor asks her, How do you see God now? What would he do in that story? She thinks for a moment and then says quietly, I think God would just forget about the rust stain and hug me anyway. The counselor pauses, then says, no, he wouldn't forget the shirt. He would take it, put it on, wear it to work proudly. And when someone asks about the rust marks, he would say, let me tell you about my little girl and how much she loves me. Read that again. He wouldn't ignore the mess. He wouldn't pretend that the rust wasn't there. He would claim it. He would wear your mistakes, not to shame you, but to tell the world you belong to him. Your rust-stained moments, your failures, your awkward, well-meaning, completely human attempts at love, he picked them up, he carried them, and has never been once ashamed. The father you were afraid of has been wearing your rust stains to work all along, delighted with you. The word Paul uses for all of this is adoption. And this is not a metaphor. This is a legal declaration. In the ancient world, adoption was one of the most binding acts imaginable, irrevocable. The moment a father adopted a child, that child's past steps were canceled completely. Former obligations erased. They entered a new family, new rights, a new inheritance, a new name. Paul says, this is what happened to you. You are no longer a slave. You are a son, and if a son, then an heir. But he goes even further. You are not just a child of God. You are a co-heir with Christ. The same standing Jesus has before the Father, you have it. Not because you earned it, not because you finally got the rust off, because of the exchange, because of the adoption, because he put the shirt on. Here's what nobody talks about. The quiet, deceptive voice that keeps trying to take all this back. We obsess over the big sins, the dramatic collapses, the obvious failures. But that's not the real strategy of the serpent, because those you notice, you repent, you come back. The real strategy is much quieter, almost imperceptible, so subtle you assume it's your own thinking. You're not enough. God is keeping score. You'll never really change. That is not your voice. Jesus calls this voice exactly what it is, a thief who comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. What is it stealing? Your identity. It's trying to make you forget the exchange, forget the adoption, forget the shirt he put on, because if it can keep you performing, earning, striving, hiding, running, it doesn't need to take you down dramatically. It just needs to keep you on the treadmill. We build identities out of everything we can find. Achievement, recognition, what other people think of us. And it works for a while, until something shifts, something breaks, something gets taken away, and suddenly, the thing you built your life on can't hold you anymore. Because if your identity is something you built, then it's something you have to protect. And most people are exhausted, trying to hold themselves together. We do this with tribes, too, political views, social status, beliefs. We sort ourselves into groups and fashion our identities around them. I am what I stand for. I am what I've built. I am what my tribe believes. But here's what changes when you accept the adoption. The story of your life, the one you've been telling yourself, gets rewritten. Not edited, not improved, rewritten. New family line, new author, new starting point. The shame you've been carrying, it belonged to the old story. The debt you've been paying, canceled in the exchange. The identity you've been performing, you can set it down. You are worse than you know, and more loved than you can imagine. And here's where it gets even bigger, because this isn't just about you. When you start to see yourself as adopted, as a child, not a servant, it completely changes how you see everyone else. We live in a polarized world. You know this. We see people through the filter of what they've done, their failures, their views, their sins. But what if you started seeing them through a different filter? Not what are they worth, but who are they claimed by? God hates sin, but he loves the person. And he doesn't love them any less because of what they've done. Because the whole story, from the very beginning, is about a father who keeps picking up rust-stained shirts, keeps wearing them, keeps claiming people who left them behind. This is the one story that holds all of humanity together. Not politics, not economics, not nationality. We are all, every single one of us, people that God is trying to adopt. How would it change your relationships to see people that way? How would it change the way you handle suffering? How would it change the way you handle your own failures? So here's the question you carry out of this. Are you living as a slave or as a child? Is your life characterized by performance, by guilt, by the weight of rust stains that you keep trying to scrub clean? Or are you living from the adoption, from the exchange, from the truth that he already picked up the shirt? Because the rewrite already happened. He wore your mistakes. He claimed your rust stains. He called them his own. The only thing left is believing he meant it.